white one is mine. It's a 67 Checker Marathon that I bought sight unseen shortly after the Philadelphia Checker Convention from a gentleman in North Carolina. Pretty much sitting in Checker. Checker shows up in my driveway. A friend of mine brought it to me. I put the steering gearbox back in it, front end alignment, 4 tires, different things, and I've been driving it for the last few months. And that's what got me here.
What engine is in it, Arthur?
It's the straight inline 6. I believe that's a 250 Chevrolet engine. It's a 3-speed manual on the common. Unfortunately, no overdrive, so when you're doing 80, that 4-liter engine is way out the way. And it, other than reworking the right-hand front and rear fenders and some minor parking lot damage, this is pretty much as I got it.
I think I'm going to walk up and look at it a little closer here.
Okay, George.
I gave a book by Don. There we go. I have the red.
What's your name?
Proud owner of a 1981 Checker A11 Norfolk Checker, Norfolk, Virginia. And again, I've had it for 19 years. It's just a taxi. Nothing's been done to it. It's all original. Maybe a little bit of paint here and there. And it has a new engine in it.
Let's see it. Let's see the engine.
The engine?
Well, it's clean, Pete. It's only clean once. What's the story about the engine? You told it to me the other day.
Well, the story about the engine was the other one was very tired. And we had a chance to change it. And the time frame was right, and we had the right mechanic. And he took away a lot of the pollution things, the electronic carburation on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was nice enough to tube all the wires with that Delphi plastic, and he did quite a remarkable job. And remarkably, the air conditioner still functions.
Good for today.
So, it's a wonderful thing. It's a summer car, so you got to make sure the air conditioner is always working.
Do you remember how many miles you have on it?
Oh, there's probably between maybe 1,000 and 500,000. So you can take your pick.
Thanks, Pete.
Okay, thank you.
This is my dad's car. My dad was Lee Cox. He was the treasurer of Checker Motors for 50 years. It's original. Haven't done anything to it other than wash it.
And where do you live?
We live, what, 2 miles from here?
2 miles.
Right around the corner.
How many years did your father work for Checker?
Oh my gosh, I'd have to look. He started at Checker in 1966, and he retired in 1994.
And he was always in the Treasury Department, if I
He was
remember.
always in the accounting department.
Yep.
He was assistant treasurer from 76 to 94.
And it's a beautiful car. I like it because of its color, the same color as mine.
Yeah, it is a beautiful color.
Let's go, Rob.
Yep. And didn't you say that Checker had it redone at some point?
He had it reupholstered.
Reupholstered, that's it. Yeah.
He took it in, cab service, and then reupholstered it.
Yeah.
So that would have been probably in late 80s, early 90s.
Yep. Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Fred Motor from Los Angeles. And I like this car quite a bit. And way back then I was looking for a station wagon which could accommodate a 4x8 plywood sheet since I was in construction. And that's about the only one who had room enough in between the wheel wells to do so. Besides, I had a big family to raise, so it was a roomy, nice, sturdy, dependable car.
What engine's in it, Fred?
I changed it over a couple of times. Right now there's a 350 Chevy engine in there, V8. It came with a 283, which lasted quite a long time, at about 200,000 on that one. And this one is getting up there too now.
So you have about 400,000 miles on the car?
Yeah, getting close to it. 370 something.
And you drove all the way in from Los Angeles?
Yeah, by way of Oregon. where I visited my son, one of my sons, and then came across into these.
Okay, I'm going to walk around and just take some close-up shots of it. Fred, thanks for the description of it. It's a beautiful car.
You bet I try to keep it up.
Were these lights, these yellow lights in back, original?
No, those I added on because I thought in the LA traffic they were a little skimpy.
And then the stick shift, was it a manual originally, or?
It was a manual originally. I just exchanged it from volume shift to floor shift.
Okay, thanks, Fred. Thanks a lot. It's a pleasure seeing you again.
Oh yeah, I try to do it again. Yeah.
I bought this about a year ago, last July. It was a basket case. A tree fell on the hood. It had been sitting under a tree for 9 years. I bought it just to have some fun with it. And it's not authentic by a long way. But,
Hardly any checkers are, Bob.
any what?
Hardly any checkers are authentic.
That's what I understand.
So it's a 67?
The 67. I have no idea what the model number is. I've never checked it out.
Is that the original engine or new engine?
No. I think it had a different engine in it when I got it. They tell me it's supposed to have a 307, but I don't know. I mean, I hear so many stories. There's a 305 in it now that's completely rebuilt. The transmission's been rebuilt, and it's very roadworthy. However, it's not too fancy.
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful. I like the color green. Was that the color originally when you bought it, or?
No, it was gray. Gray. And,
Nice interior. Did you have the whole interior redone?
I had a woman do the upholstery, yeah.
Beautiful.
And that's my pal Harry back there. And he keeps a watch out for
Harry.
everything.
Yep.
Yeah, he's sleeping right now. So I just put a stripe around it, taxi sign on it, just to have some fun.
Well, Bob, it looks great. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, well, you're on now.
I'm Steve Fisher from Bremerton, Washington. I drove out here in my propane A12, and it's 82. I bought it from a fellow 12 years ago in Cincinnati. He was on the sign company, and he was the original owner and bought it from the factory. It came from the factory as propane.
And is it still propane?
It is still propane. I'm still taking it out there on the highway.
Where do you have trouble with the propane stations, or you have to figure them out ahead of time?
I
Or?
try to figure them out ahead of time, but sometimes I just get lucky along the roadside and see a reasonable place.
And do you know what number this is in 82, the built number? They built 2000 that year. Well, yeah, we'll look and see when we're done. Yeah, because it could be a late one. Mine's a pretty late one too. And how many miles on it, Steve? Do you know?
157 now.
And must be the original engine and everything, as far as you know.
29,
Is that the original paint, or did you ever repaint it?
Just had it repainted, 3/4 of it. I'm working on the back end there for the last quarter.
Was that the original color?
Yes, it is. And the vinyl top needs to be redone big time. I already did it in '98, and it's already deteriorated.
Did it have the vinyl? I must have had
Yes,
it
it did.
originally.
It had a black one.
Nice tan interior.
Interior's in real good shape.
Yeah. Notice they kept the dark brown armrests on it. Even
Well, I
though
need a new one. If you know where I can get another.
I can't find them myself. There's some over there, but they aren't.
Well, they're gone now.
They're gone now?
Yeah, Merkel picked them up.
Oh. They're hard to find. Is the trunk the same, just a regular trunk? The propane tanks aren't in the trunk, are they?
No, they're up underneath.
Mhm.
But as a spare, when you're in a real tight pinch, gosh, I hate to see this.
Well, that's all right. You travel all the way from Washington.
But
Oh.
I got an adapter made so that I can limp from, after I run out of gas, I can limp up to the next stop, maybe
Oh, that's great.
20 miles or so if I'm lucky.
That's great.
and I've used it a lot down in California and running around.
And is this your first time you brought it to a meet?
This is the first time I've been to this meet. I was at one down in Scottsdale, Arizona, just by chance. I was working down in San Diego and drove over there.
Well, thank you very much, Steve.
You're sure welcome, Brian.
This is 1982 A11 cab, wink-off car, which means that they can purchase from the factory as a A11. Put into service in condition by Checker Southeast, Fort Lauderdale. I've owned this car since 1988. I'm the second owner. What I like about it is that it's an unusual car in that the aluminum bumpers have been anodized and chrome plated. Probably the only one I've ever seen like that. It's a hard trick to chrome plate these aluminum bumpers. It's got cruise control. The interior is velour, and it's just a fun car to have. What I don't like about the Checkers is they're not tight, and I've had to chase a lot of rust on this thing over the years.
Look at that beautiful interior, all velour. And that's the way Winkoff made them, right?
Yeah. So as far as I know, this was the way Winkoff would customize these things. Of course, as it being an A11, it had a normal side window back here, back window, and he put a steel plate in there and would cut in the thick upper windows.
And have you done anything to the car other than keep it running and a little rust repair? Or?
Actually, I've done a lot of the body work myself, and I decided I'm never going to do that again. I'm willing to pay the body shop now to do it because of the hard work. So I've done some of the body work. I'm probably going to get a new vinyl top. This is starting to show its wear, and so I'm going to ideas on how to do that, I guess.
What engine's in it?
It's got the 267 V8. It's a small 8-cylinder engine. It's 0 to 60 in about 2 days, and after that, once it gets up to cruising speed, it'll go right along 75, 80 miles an hour, no problem at all.
How many miles do you have on it?
It's got about 125,000 miles, which isn't much for a 24-year-old car, I guess. So engine seems to be strong, and
he put those wheels on them right himself, right? Is that Winkoff?
No.
Oh, you put those on?
They came. Those are add-on wheels. I did.
Yeah.
Winkoff had a different wheel on it. I've never had checker wheels on this car.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Beautiful car.
Thank you.
This is from Custersville, Ohio. This is my 1980 A11 taxi cab. It was an original New York taxi. I bought it in 2000. It had 98,000 miles on when I got it. I turned over the 100,000. It was in service in New York, they said in 80 and 81, and it was taken out of service in 82. That's the reason it's still in decent condition. It still has the center divider, which they tell me is bulletproof, and it has the working meter, which matches the door stickers. Everything is still operable. We use it as a summer driver every day in the summer, and we store it in the wintertime. Had it in a lot of, probably 8 weddings, 1 divorce, and about 5 proms. And I'm scheduled for another wedding next year. And it's just for friends and family, no charging.
And let's see the all the stuff inside since it was a cab.
In the front, it's all original decals. All the rules and laws for the New York taxis. It still has the inspection stickers in the windows from New York City. In the rear, the only thing I took out was the 1/2-inch Lexan. It was hard to see through. It has the money cup, which they said was designed so that they couldn't fit a stub nose 38 through it. It has the flip-up seats and the lights on top. Everything, the running lights and on-off duty, everything works on it.
That's a real classic. Well, thanks a lot, Rick.
You're very welcome.
Hi, I'm Bill Berkins. This is my 77 A11. My dad purchased it brand new from Jim Bonner in Belmont, Michigan. When I was about 3 years old, I came right in the back seat of his car across the United States. And about 2 years ago, he decided that he was going to let me have possession of the car so we could sit on my house. And I drove down here with him today. he's around somewhere, but this was his daily driver for about 30 years. Like I said, he ordered it just like it is. It's a little bit of a different color. It used to be a paler green, but everything else is all original except for the
Do you know what engine it has?
350.
Good. Good. And Byron Center is not too far. That's between Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo, right?
That's right. It's only about 15 minutes from downtown. So about an hour from here. Nice drive.
Let's see, look inside of it. All original inside still?
Yep.
Yep. Oh, it looks great. Yep, the taxi seats, the planer seats in them.
That's right.
And you got the jump seats in back. You say the color was a little different?
Yeah, you can see it in the jams here.
Oh yeah, a little, yeah. Almost more of a yellow on it or so.
Yeah. You remember what color it was called? The number, it had a number, right? Yeah. I don't think it had a number.
Is that your father?
This is my dad.
Oh.
Hi.
How are you?
Pretty good.
So you bought it new, huh? Beautiful car. And your son seems rather proud of it.
Got a lot of work to be done on it.
Well, they all do. They all do. Well, great. Well, thanks for bringing it.
Hey Dave, you know what? Checker 812 Marathon. Here is bought it in 1989 in Baltimore, Maryland. Came from a little old lady, Martha Erickson, who bought it new. It's a 354 barrel exhaust car. Got 72,000 miles on it. Restored in 1990 from
Charles, right?
42,000 miles on it at that
Charles
point.
probably has. This is my nephew.
Restored, but I use it every summer, drive it everywhere.
Yeah, very, very well.
And, got pretty good as far as factory options: brake, steering, air conditioning. Put a stereo in it. The last couple of years,
Charles written a couple books.
new brakes, new radiator, new water pump. So you can drive it anywhere.
Did it come with the...
19.2 miles to a gallon on the highway.
What engine does it have?
354 barrel quadrajet.
Wow.
Actually, the 4 barrel quadrajet gets better gas mileage than the 2 barrel car.
Did you have the bumpers chromed or did
The
it
bumpers are polished aluminum. Where I live in Connecticut, the big aircraft industry, they do a lot of aluminum polishing.
Oh.
So I got the stuff to polish them out. I put the painted ones on when the car, when I restored it,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't look too good. So we polished them, instead of plating them, polished them the aluminum. I do them like once a year with Simichrome, and they stay just like that. But I've got a 77, I got a 75 that I put a 454 Chevy in.
I'm gonna go make sure the plumbing
Similar to this, only a different color, but the same kind of shape. And, wound up having to do a little extra work with that. It's got a 9-inch Ford rear in it, sunroof. That's a pretty nice car.
Well, this is gorgeous.
I'm the second owner.
And did you have it repainted or?
No, what was repainted in 1989 when I bought it, so the paint job on it now is almost 16 years old.
Wow.
The interior is all original.
Nice blue interior. Don't see too many with the blue interior.
Yeah, that's why I had it repainted blue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gorgeous.
Kind of limited my color options when I was going to do it, but it didn't come with jump seats. It's we've got it full of parts going back.
You just got a bug in it too when you open the door. Beep.
Yeah, I'm restoring a 1981 New York City cab now. So that should be nice. The one touch you'll see on it is got a Connecticut registration taxi, and that plate was on a list of restricted plates that the motor vehicle department wouldn't issue. That might have had some connotations that were probably not proper, like Dago or WAP or something like that.
Right.
And that was on the list, and a friend of mine with the motor vehicle department was in charge of that department, and we convinced him to release it.
You have friends in high places?
Not anymore. Just at that time.
Well, that's a great story. Thanks a lot.
My name is Jim Bonner. We ran a dealership in Grand Rapids, Michigan called Michigan Motor Cars. And we sold a lot of checkers, both new and used, from about 1975 until we closed in 1989. One of our cutest stories is the clerk of our county, Kent County, John Damstra, was the head of the Republican Party. So in 1976 he said, Jim, Jerry Ford's coming in to vote. How would you like to serve him with the checker limousine? So I said, hey, that's great. So we brought in an all-black A11E. We waxed it every day or two. And the only thing we had against him, we had to stay with the car for about 48 hours.
Now, tell me the story about this car. You said this was an executive's car?
Well, let me finish this story.
Okay.
So, before they came in, before Jerry Ford came in to vote, Secret Service called us and said, we decided against limousines, we're going to use station wagons. So I voted for Jimmy Carter. This was a factory official's car. We bought it along with a couple of other ones. This was, I believe, the general manager of the plant. He didn't take very good care, and the front end was out of alignment. So I asked for 2 new tires to match the back ones. And they said, we can't retail tires, we're not allowed to. We're not tire sellers. So we drove the car home with those bad tires on. Our cleanup man looked in the truck and found 2 brand new ones.
Now, is this, you said this was the original, almost original color. It's not the original paint,
That's
but...
the original, yeah. The paint, here's the original color. It's the original paint. That's
Oh,
original.
yeah, so it's really...
We didn't paint that.
Yeah.
So it's all original.
Original engine?
Oh yeah. It's got 116,000.
Well, thank you very much, Jim.
And especially bakery, maybe get a rhubarb pie, but with the strawberries that we makes it.
Well, the boxes look a little emptier.
Yeah, I got a white card. How about a handbag? You might get whipped with it. For a buck. Are you for paddle?
Yeah, you gotta have a barn next to the
How's the sales going? Pretty good?
That's the kind that you put up and put up.
Yeah, it goes from the door post.
I got grandkids.
Yeah, but if you have the newer cars with the headrest, they kind of interfere with this.
Yeah, but I gotta sell raffle tickets till 9 o'clock tonight to get this party going.
Maybe I'll win tonight.
Krabakis here at the 2006 Checker National Meet in Gilmore Car Museum in Hickory Corners, Michigan. This is my 1980 Checker Marathon. My father bought the car brand new from the Checker dealership over here on Pitcher Street. I remember when we went in and picked it up together. Basically, I've been driving the car since I was 16 years old, from March through November, weather permitting, which is a good thing if you've got a Checker. It's all original. The motor has been rebuilt. It's original at 183,000 miles. The motor has been rebuilt at 87, and the transmission was rebuilt at about 90,000 miles. If you want to come on in, I'll show you. It's basically your average Michigan Checker. All original. It's been resprayed twice. The only thing I've done to the car is I've put an aftermarket stereo inside just to listen to a little cleaner sound.
Is the vinyl top original?
The vinyl top is original, which will be probably replaced within a year or two here. The carpet is not original as well. That's the other thing. It runs great. It's got the 229 3.8 liter V6 engine.
Tell us a story about the rewiring the battery.
Rewiring the battery. This is one of the best things you can do if you have a hard starting Checker, and I know a lot of y'all out there may. Advanced Auto sells a 2-gauge wire for about $2 a foot. Costs you about $40. And you got to go under there and disassemble your entire lead, and you can measure it to get a more exact fit. I did it in about 2.5 hours. Didn't take me very long at all. And it 100% cured my hard starting problems on my V6 motor here.
Can we see it?
Certainly.
Oh, look at that. Beautiful.
There was a joint here where there was a connection made from the battery cable to the starter motor, and I bypassed that and just made a one solid connection. It's just another spot where things can go wrong, corrosion can form. I opted for the clear cable, which makes it real easy to see corrosion if it should form in the future. You can go under there and inspect it very easy. Ran it, I think it was about 18 feet, ran it straight underneath.
No problem feeding it through?
No problem whatsoever. It took me literally about an hour to take out the old one and about an hour and a half to put on the new one. Cured those hard starting problems right away, and I wish I would have done it 16 years ago.
You should write an article for the newsletter.
Yes, because I've been enjoying yours. I just fixed one of my window regulators.
Yeah, oh great.
Yes.
Well, you should, because a lot of people would like to read about that.
Sure,
I would never think of even doing it myself because I think it would be too complicated.
Sure, it was very, very easy. Original seats, everything. You got all your standard checker issues. How should we put them?
Yeah.
But overall, it's ready to be a little bit of body work, primed and repainted. Hopefully within about a year or two. And it's going to continue to be my daily driver. I wouldn't have anything else.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you, Byron.
My name is Paul Worth. I'm from Valdosta, Georgia. From South Georgia, about 10 miles from Florida. This is my 72 marathon. We've had it for about 7 years. Done a lot of work on it. The last job I did last summer was to replace the engine. We took the tired 350 out of it and put in a new Ramjet 350. It's been a great move. New transmission, overdrive. Other modifications we made are to put in 2002 Chevy truck seats, which have lumbar support and reclining. We've also put 98 Chevy van wheels on the car and done the body and paint work.
Looks like a race car from here. The little seats look beautiful.
Very comfortable too. Got lucky with the seats. The rear mounting holes mount directly into the checker seatbelt holes.
Look at the fan. That's a good spot for the fan too.
Put a vintage air conditioning system in it a couple years ago.
How did it drive up from Georgia?
Did great. We went over some hills going through Kentucky and it never dropped out of overdrive. It's got plenty of torque. It's just a lot better car to drive now.
And then what'd you bring with you here?
I brought a little bit of everything. I brought a Play-Doh full of parts, seats, hubcaps, air conditioning system, some glass.
From parts cars that you have?
Yeah, I've got 3 parts cars. This is part 3 cars. I had a few parts left and I did that upgrade from my 72. So we're trying to sell everything. We'll even sell the trailer. So far I haven't sold most of the big stuff, so I guess we'll be hauling stuff back.
Well, thank you very much, Paul. We're alive. Okay, John, tell us.
Okay, this one's a 1981 Checker Marathon. It's an A12 model. Factory built with vinyl top, originally equipped with a 3.6 V8. It was sold brand new off the showroom floor here in Kalamazoo to Marcia Shore. She had the car from 1981 until 1989. She sold it to her cousin Dave DeBack. Dave did quite a bit of work on the car, getting it back into decent shape. And Dave owned the car from 1989 until 2000. I saw the car at the 2000 show. I did not buy it then. I came back later on that year and bought this particular car. I ended up buying this car because my wife was upset at how slowly I was getting an 82 A11 LPG restored. So that's how I ended up with this one.
So procrastination paid off.
Something like that.
Could you tell?
When I took this one home, I expected my wife to tell me to get rid of the other one. Instead, she said keep it.
Tell us about your engine swap.
Okay, I wanted something a little bit more than the tired 3.8 that we had in the thing that was really running pretty rotten. Had 170-some thousand miles on it, about wore out. And initially I looked at doing a Ramjet 350 like Paul Worth did over in his, and like Wayne did in his. But I ended up spending part of the money on a kitchen remodeling for my wife. So I started looking around for a little cheaper alternatives, but stuff that would still be modern and quite reliable. and I finally decided that the 4.3 Chevy motor, which was the follow-on to the 3.8 that was originally in this car, would make a pretty easy swap on it. So we ordered a rebuilt 4.3 from AutoZone, what they call one of the Recon Extreme motors, basically all built except for the manifold and intakes on the thing. I then added some street headers on the thing, added a computer out of a 1990 S10, added a painless wiring system on the thing. I was concerned about cooling on it, so I replaced the old clutch fan and the original 5-plate steel fan with a stainless flex fan, 18-inch, and I added a pair of 10-inch Kohler electric fans that are thermostatically controlled to come on the thing. And this car, I don't care what weather you have it in, it will stick right at the temperature gauge on it. It won't even budge, because coming up here, I spent 2 hours idling on I-80, and it didn't move.
Well, thanks, John. It's a great story.
Okay.
Tony Matter. I hail from Northeast Maryland. I've inherited this car back in 2003. It's a 67 812 Marathon. Right now it has 42,000 miles on it. Originally, when I inherited from my sister-in-law, she inherited from her sister who bought it in Detroit in 67. In the early 90s, she went back to Pennsylvania, and there she lived until she passed, and she put on about 30,000 miles on it. And at that time, my sister-in-law had it, and from 98 to 2003, it sat in a garage with 31,000 miles on it. When I went up to visit her, she was in a nursing home, and I visited with my brother. I asked him if they could have it, and he said sure. So within one day, I had to replace the tires, which were virtually flat, fix a leak in the radiator, and replace the chocolate pudding, which was a break in there overnight, and drive it back 300 miles to my home in northeastern Maryland. And because you all wouldn't let me put it on a trailer, I had to put a trailer hitch on it and drive my Checkered with my Civic on the back on a trailer.
Oh, that's a great
back
story.
home, about 300 miles. And it was rather uneventful, except for the fact that the brakes, which are manual, didn't always function when you were going through intersections. So at one time, I almost ran through a couple cars going through the intersection. But it did stop when I needed it to. The other interesting thing is, within 10 miles after I first picked this car up, I dropped one of the headlights. I'm sorry, not headlights, one of the hubcaps. And as I was driving along the road, somebody wound down their window beside me, and I thought they were going to tell me how to rate the car. And here they told me that I had dropped the hubcap. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to find it, so I had to actually go out to California in order to find it. And if you look at the hubcaps, you'd never be able to tell, except for the one hubcap that is the dullest, happens to be the replacement.
Wow, the dullest. That's great.
All the other ones are the original equipment.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is George Lucas. I'm originally from Czechoslovakia, lived in New Jersey. Now we live in Blue Ridge Country with the rest of the hillbillies. And this is the 1970 Checker I have restored completely. I got it for $250, just a body, no engine, no transmission. Now I'm in the fiddle business. No more Checkers for me. Thank you.
Thank you. So you bought it for $250?
Yep.
Wow, it's beautiful. When you say in the fiddle business, you mean violins?
My father passed away a few years back, and he was a cabinet maker by trade, and he collected violins, and he collected hand tools.
Wow.
So my daughter says, Dad, you're getting too old crawling underneath the checkers. Besides my belly getting in the way. My head gets underneath the car, but the belly won't go anymore.